Therefore, the government has one of the most ambitious plans for the youth of Ontario. In 2022, they legalized gambling because nothing says a strong future like turning your phone into 24/7 casino.
I always say smart people aren't too smart, and you guys are about as dumb as a bag of hammers for doing this.
In 2024, grocery stores and convenience stores got the green light to sell alcohol.
Isn't that amazing?
Now you can buy a beer with your bread, whiskey with your milk, and regret with your lottery ticket, all in one stop.
Winner, Kenya.
Bruh.
And in 2026, the government announced changes to OSAP, reducing the grant portion and increasing reliance on student debts, making it hard for many students to afford college and university.
Going to start increasing tuition again starting in the fall of this year, and they're making some big changes to OSAP. That is the program students use for funding when it comes to paying for their tuition. And the big change for that is that it will now be more loan heavy before it was grant heavy.
Because why help students graduate debt-free when they can graduate stressed, broke, and ready to sign up for another betting app? So if you take a look at a bigger picture, easy access to gambling, easy access to alcohol, less access to education, we're slowly building the perfect system. A generation of online gamblers, casual drinkers, and debt-crushed students.
Yeah, boy.
And when OSAP cuts were announced, the blame didn't go to Queen Park, it went straight to Ottawa. In a press briefing, therefore said the cuts were necessary because federal government limited the number of international students coming to Canada.
Federal government cut off foreign students coming in, so it really hurt a lot of colleges and universities. I support the students, our number one selling feature when companies come from around the world.
But reports about Ontario's post-secondary system have pointed out for years that colleges and universities became heavily dependent on international student tuition, partially because public funding per student in Ontario has been amongst the lowest in Canada. Now we are seeing the results. Campuses closing, programs being cut, and staff layoffs across colleges, trying to deal with funding shortfalls. This is what happens when education starts being treated less like a public service, more like a business model. Bring in more international students, sell more programs, and hope the system pays for itself. So the irony of the situation, Doug for telling students to go into STEM and trades, which sounds great.
Go into healthcare, go into trades, go into jobs of the future. Focus on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Those are where the jobs are.
This is the same government that passed Bill 124, a law that capped wage increases for nurses and other public sector workers at 1% a year, a law that was struck down by the court for violating charter rights.
Court has struck down a bill that limited wages for public sector workers. Unions representing the workers argued the law had taken away meaningful collective bargaining. Bill 124, a law passed in 2019, limits wage increases at 1% per year for Ontario public service employees as well as broader public sector workers. The justice ruled the law infringes on the applicant's rights to freedom of association.
So the message for young people seems really clear. Go to school, take on debt, work in essential jobs, don't expect decent living wage. And if it doesn't work out, there's always a betting app. And it's also funny that government tells colleges and a university to find efficiencies to control their budgets. And this is coming from a premier who doesn't seem very interested in a full public inquiry into the Glinton Crosstown LRT, a project that went billions over budget, years behind schedule, and still moves slower than expected. And then there was a Greenbelt scandal. Land was removed from protected Greenbelt, and a report later showed some developers with connection to government had bought land in those same areas before the changes were announced. When the integrity commissioner and auditor report came out, the housing minister resigned and senior staff stepped down, and government eventually reversed the decision and put that land back into Greenbelt. So now colleges are being told to tighten their own belts, cut programs, lay off staff, and balance the books, while some of the biggest government projects in the province keep getting more expensive, more delayed, and harder to explain. Apparently, efficiency is important, but not everywhere. If we keep going on this path, I don't think the next step will surprise anyone. At this rate, one day, we might hear about a new, improved student loan system, the kind of where private lenders get involved, debt get bigger, and paying it off takes half of your life. Just look at the United States, where student loans became a massive profit-generating system. And in many cases, you can't even clear your debt through bankruptcy. I'm not saying that's happening tomorrow in Ontario, but when grants get cut, loans get bigger, and public funding keeps shrinking, you can see the direction things are heading. Less support from our government, more debt for students, more opportunity for someone to make profit off it. And that's the future we are building. Then maybe the real growth is not in tech, healthcare, or skilled trades. It might be in gambling, alcohol, or interest payments. Education should not be treated like a burden on budget. It should be treated like an investment in the future. Everyone deserves a fair chance to study what they care about. and build the career they want, not just the one they can afford. After taking on years of debt, we can survive without a casino in Niagara. We don't need more betting apps, more liquor aisles, or one more ways to take money off people's struggle. What do we need? More healthcare workers, more nurses, more skilled trades, more classroom, more hospitals. If there's a money for new casinos, there should be a money for people who keep this province running. Because stronger Ontario is not built on slot machines and budget cuts. It's built on educated people, healthy communities, and a government that understands the difference.
I always say smart people aren't too smart, and you guys are about as dumb as a bag of hammers for doing this.